Hello, welcome back to 1874. Time for a match preview show as Villa take on Fulham on Sunday at Villa Park, 2 o'clock kickoff. This show is sponsored by Match Bingo. Go to 1874.io/Match Bingo. Get yourself 4 cards and you'll get another one free. They're £2 each and you can buy bingo cards around all the football and all the sport that's on at the moment. Just by signing up, you help us as a channel. So it'd be great if you could go on and do that this morning because we've recorded this Friday, but actually you'll be watching it on Saturday morning, a little peek behind the curtain there. I've just got back from the barbers and my hair's a state. Dave Reed is going to the barbers very soon to get his hair cut. Desperate. And Dave is in a different position today, so we can see his kind of trophy cabinet behind us with all his BAFTAs in and whatnot, because he is television's David Reed nowadays.
That's the glasses and a little bit of booze cupboard, which I've been breaking into more regularly this season. I'm not surprised. Well, yeah, after during and after every single game that Villa have played this season. What's your booze of choice? What's in there? What's your favourite in the booze cupboard? There's some gin in there, some from the local brewery, which is quite nice. Well, Wimbledon Brewery, which is a nice tipple, I must admit.
It was a McGinn and tonic last night, wasn't it? Villa getting the 1-0 win.
Isn't it?
How am I not getting more work? This is an absolute disgrace. 1-0 to Villa. Those that have watched the content that came out post Bologna will know that I did feel not too dissimilar actually walking out the ground as I did when we lost to Crystal Palace, which is a little bit weird because things just don't feel right. It doesn't, even though we won, it just doesn't feel like it's clicking, Dave.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, you have to give them credit. They've won the game. They've seen it out. It's a clean sheet. That is absolute positives. And actually, I've seen a few screenshots from people posting Villa's results this season saying, does this count as a crisis? And as I think we said actually on the preview last week or the week before, the results in isolation this season aren't the worst results, but the context of those results, if you've watched the games, is how Villa have been playing. And it's the lack of cohesion. It's the lack of flow and rhythm in the final third. It's the lack of some of the verve that we've seen over the last 2.5-3 years. So, and that's the real concern. And I think the other side of it is that nobody really saw this coming at the start of the season. I didn't.
When you say that, people in the comments always say, "Oh, we did warn you. We did tell you." Well, I don't think anyone saw this being this bad, though, I don't think.
I didn't see it coming, that's for sure. I think you could explain a hangover from the whole not getting Champions League thing, but I don't think it's that. I think it's more what's gone on in the summer. And to be honest, I wasn't expecting it to affect things on the pitch as much as it probably has done. But another chance and a really good opportunity to get a home victory on Sunday. And this game and the way Villa start this game is so important because if Fulham get a foothold in this game and if they get an early goal, it's going to be a hard place to play football, unfortunately, for those Villa players.
Yeah, Fulham are a good team. 3 wins in a row in all competitions, got 2 wins in the league and then beat Cambridge, I think it was, in the week in the Carabao Cup. We've got a good record against them. Those that have watched the Stato preview show will know that Villa are on good form against Fulham. It's a tricky game. I think Fulham are a good team. I think they've got some really good players. I really like Marco Silva. I like the way they set up their players. They play nice football. They really go at you on the flanks. I think Fulham will be dangerous opposition for Villa on Sunday. However, Villa are going to get off the mark this season and win a game. It does feel to me like it's going to be at home. So it's good to have kind of a couple of home games coming up. But these next 2 home games in the Premier League, in terms of kind of getting back to where we need to be, Fulham and Burnley at home need to be 6 points.
Yep, no doubt about it. Totally agree. I think anything other than 6 points will be seen as a disappointment. And I'm on the same page as you really about Fulham. I like the way they go about things. I'm kind of like, well, what is Marco Silva's ceiling? Does the football that he's played at Fulham really translate to a Big Six club, or so-called Big Six club, if another club comes in for him? Not too sure about that. And actually, Fulham this season, they probably are going to be around mid-table, and they would like a cup run. That's kind of where they're at most seasons, and I can't really see anything different this season. I think they are a little bit short, probably depth-wise, squad-wise, particularly in midfield. I think that's a problem if they start to get injuries in midfield.
Maybe centre-forward as well.
Yeah, possibly, and I think Muniz is a doubt for the game. So that would be a bit of a blow for Fulham if he misses the game on Sunday. They signed Kevin from Shakhtar Donetsk in the summer, and he's struggling. So, but I think he has trained. I think he's trained.
Oh no, I like the look of him. I thought he was out.
No, he's. I think he's in contention. I think he's in contention because he's been training. So he's been positive since they signed him. I think Marco Silva's kind of easing him in a little bit, and the back four is solid. The back four is solid. So it'll take a good performance and a better performance than what we've seen for Villa to get 3 points.
Should we get into the team selection, David? Should we have a look at what we're thinking here? Less, for those that are watching via audio, less kind of certain starters for me than I've probably put up in recent weeks. Dave described the 3 on the treatment table as the usual suspects. Barkley and Onana would certainly fall into that category, and Tielemans isn't going to be back for this one either. So the dead certs I've got in Villa's starting lineup are, well, actually I say Martinez, but he is a doubt, but I think he'll probably be past fit and play on Sunday. We've got Emi Martinez, Matty Cash, Ezri Konsa, John McGinn, Boubacar Kamara, out of form Morgan Rogers, and out of form Ollie Watkins. They're the 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 that I've got down as locks, Dave. Would you agree with that?
Yes. Do we want to talk about Morgan Rogers? We probably will want to talk
about anything you want, David. Okay. You can talk about absolutely anything. Doesn't even have to be football. What would you like to say about Morgan Rogers?
Well, if he'd have been taken off against Bologna, I think there's a possibility that maybe he would have started on the bench for this game. But the fact that Unai Emery has continued to play him and has said post-match that he wants him to feel that pressure of playing for Aston Villa, he wants him to almost play himself back into form. It makes me think that he will absolutely start this game.
Yeah, 100%.
A lot of supporters will say that he shouldn't be starting this game, but I think Unai Emery's almost left himself with no choice but to start Morgan Rogers in this game, and I think he'll probably start him as the 10. And
agree.
He's got to get off to a good start, because the first misplaced pass is going to cause some jitters in the crowd. If there's a second and third, then that will only build, and you want his confidence to be building, not going the other way. And I think that the way that Villa fans can show that, I was really disappointed with the Gia.
Stuff like that never helps.
Because that's not helping anybody. And he's a young player, and he's delivered on the big stage for Aston Villa previously, and then he didn't deserve that. So that was disappointing. And what Villa fans can do on Sunday is, when his name is read out on the team sheet, to give it the loudest applause and cheer that they can, because these players need a bit of building up, and that's the only way that they're going to build that confidence, is step by step. He might not drop a 10 out of 10. It's going to be step by step now to get him back to that position maybe that he was last season. So for me, I think Morgan Rogers does fall into that lock category that he starts on Sunday.
Yeah, I think one of the reasons he was left on last night was, I think Emery maybe thought that if he subs him, there's going to be an ironic cheer or 2 or 1,000 from the crowd. So I actually think that's one of the reasons he left him on last night, and maybe just hoping that something would happen for him and he'd get an easy goal or something like that. As it turned out, he completed a pass and got the ironic cheers anyway, so he may as well have taken him off. He is not playing well. Everything he does looks heavy. At the moment, doesn't seem to be moving around the pitch like I remember him moving around the pitch last season, if I'm being honest as well, when I'm sat watching him. When you've got him and Watkins, who are both not in the best form, kind of as your main 2 up top, you're going to be struggling. Realistically, they're not getting a ton of service either, but they are both off form. There's no getting away from that. For me, he still, if I'm picking 11 myself for Sunday, I'm putting Morgan Rogers in the team, because I know what he can do, and I'm desperate to see him get back into some kind of form and get back to the player that we know he can be. But I still think as well, getting the components right around him and Watkins has got to happen, and I'm not sure we're there yet. I'm not sure we've got anything that's ideal. I must admit, watching us last night and watching Pau Torres play in the flesh, I wish we could go to 3 at the back. I really, really think that would help us, because that would get Mings and Torres into the team. It would solve the problem of not having a natural right winger or no winger at all in the squad. You then can just pick 2 10s to play off Watkins, and whoever's playing central midfield, play central midfield, and they're all fine there. I just feel that solves a problem. I wouldn't expect that we're going to go to that on Sunday. I don't think there'll be a massive shift from what we've been doing. But I think Pau Torres did remind all the fans how good a player he was on Thursday. And it's difficult because you want Mings in for the solidarity. But there's no doubt that, we were better at playing that high line last night with Pau Torres in there.
Yeah, and if I just want to make one final point on Morgan Rogers.
You can, Dave.
Credit to him because he still wanted the ball and he was still shouting for the ball and the players were still giving it to him. And the easy thing to do on a football pitch when he's in that kind of shape is to hide a little bit, and he didn't.
Sure.
And for that, you've got to applaud him. That shows the kind of, that he's got a bit about him. He's still got some cojones. So credit to Morgan Rogers for that. And I believe that given a bit of time, he will find his feet again. The Watkins thing is, I kind of put them in slightly different categories of out of form.
Okay.
Because Rodgers is kind of seeing a lot of the ball and things aren't coming off for him, and it's kind of been a repetitive process whereby game by game, maybe that confidence has dropped off a little bit. The Watkins situation I see slightly differently in so much as the first few games, he's hardly seen the ball. And when you're not feeling the ball, that can build a kind of lack of confidence as well. And when you're not getting chances, it's not like, I can't really say that I feel like he's missed loads and loads of chances. Obviously the penalty aside on Thursday night, but it feels to me like it's almost because he's had a lack of service and a lack of ball, he's almost like not got his eye in. He's almost, a darts player trying to hit 180s when, he's not practiced for a week or something.
You've been working too much with Emma Payton, you have, over the last few weeks with your darts analogy there, Dave.
So I feel like it's almost a different kind of out of form for Ollie Watkins. And the fact is that he's proven it year after year. He has gone through spells where he hasn't scored. So hopefully it's just round the corner for him.
Let's try and do our 11 then.
Okay.
You can talk about Pau Torres whilst we do that.
Yeah, I mean, Pau Torres plays this game for me.
Okay.
I think he comes into the 11. Another solid performance. Well, I say a good solid performance. I think he was a little bit exposed against Brentford in the league, and I think that hurt him a little bit. Now Kamara's back and in front of him. I think that's really important for the whole team. True. And for me, Pau Torres starts this game. I just think he's able to take the ball, and given the fact that Villa have struggled to move the ball through the different phases in build-up this season, particularly without Yuri Tillemans, I feel like Pau Torres' importance, maybe his deficiencies defensively, the trade-off is that what he gives you on the ball is what Villa are really lacking at the moment.
I think when we've been struggling and a look at the teams that we've played, I can see why Mings has been picked for every single one of those games. Whereas for this one, Fulham at home, and I'm not saying Fulham are a bad team because they're not at all. I just feel this is a more suited game for Pau Torres than any of those other games have been. And I think you would have we had different fixtures. I think Pau and Mings would have rotated a little bit more, but because we've been off form and we've tried to consolidate and be a little bit more solid in our structure, I think that's why Mings has played, and we haven't really seen Torres in the league except for that Brentford game. So I agree with you. I do think Pau plays this one, and just because Maatsen played on Thursday night, it makes me think that Luca Dean is going to play this one. It was like he wanted to keep him ticking over when he brought him on. I felt it wasn't because Maatsen had done anything wrong or Villa was struggling down that side. I thought he just wanted to keep Luca Dean ticking over. You could kind of feel with the players he brought into the game, the same with Watkins, that like he's obviously going to start this one because he wanted to get some minutes into him in the game, but not give him 90 so that he was a bit more fresh for the game. That's how I'm reading the left back situation anyway. Yeah,
I agree with what you're saying there, and people at home kind of watching it and listening have got to remember that when Unai Emery's making those changes in the second half, it's almost like an added training session for the players coming on.
Yeah.
They're missing a day's training and they're getting ready for a game rather than them sitting on the bench in the cold, getting them on, getting minutes into their legs. It's the equivalent essentially, or a bit of a sharper training session really, putting them into a match scenario. So it's good to have those minutes in the legs. I mean, interestingly, Fulham at home last season, Maatsen played.
Yeah, he did.
But it was the week after the cup semi-final, and Luca Dean didn't have his best game. Neither did many of them in that cup semi-final. I mean, I would prefer to see Maatsen and Sancho link up down that left-hand side on Sunday. But it feels to me like Lukadin is going to start.
We've just kind of
not that he's done loads wrong, by the way.
No, of course not. He's just solid, isn't he? That's what he is. We're trying to kind of read between the lines, excuse the pun, of like kind of messages coming out and just what we've seen on Thursday and the use of the substitutes. But in his post-match, Emery did kind of say that like some people that didn't play will play in this one. I don't know whether that means, is he talking about Harvey Elliott, who didn't come on at all, or is he talking about players that didn't start? I would think it would be the latter. I think Gasson probably stays in the team. It feels like he's trying to make him the right winger in the squad, even though it's not his natural game. And I think Sancho might play. This one would be my hunch, Dave.
That would be my preferred three. I've been pretty kind of content and comfortable with how Gasson's been getting on. He's showing glimpses and signs. I like his physicality. I like his ability to kind of carry the ball that he's shown on a couple of occasions. And I think I can see what Villa are trying to do with him. He did play on the right at times, I think, last season for Nice, and he had a good year. So feels to me like he would be the one to really nail down that place on the right-hand side. And I like the look of him. Sancho, for me, he should be starting on Sunday. And what I've liked about Sancho so far is that it reminds me, I mean, he's not Jack Grealish. Let me just put that out there straight away. Mm-hmm. But the way that Grealish attracts players to the ball, opposition players to the ball, is kind of a little bit Sancho. Now, Sancho doesn't have the kind of the explosiveness really that Grealish can knock the ball by you and just drop his shoulder and see you later. But what Sancho is able to do is almost attract two defensive players to him, and that then creates space for the left back Maatsen or Digne to overlap. And that's what I've liked about Sancho so far. He's never gonna knock the ball 3 yards past someone and fly down the wing. He's not that kind of player, but what he is intricate. He's able to keep hold of the ball. He offers an element of control because he doesn't give it away. And when he drops a shoulder or tries a trick and he's not able to go by or make himself half a yard, which is his preferred method, make yourself half a yard for either a kind of penetrative ball or a cross into the box, he's able to control the ball and give it to a teammate rather than lose the ball. So that's what I've liked about Sancho. And yeah, look, it's going to take him time to work out what Unai Emery asks of him out of possession. But I think in possession, he offers something that creates space for others. And I think that is something that's been missing really this season.
Yeah, and from watching Villa this season as well, yeah, that cross, I think it was Sancho who put the cross in for the Watkins headed chance that he didn't connect with against Sunderland. I feel if we're to get Watkins back, it's going to come from Jadon Sancho, is my feeling, him linking up. And I think if you look at that team there that we've picked, the kind of left-hand side of the pitch is quite important there. I think when you got Pau, Lukadin, Kamara, Sancho, Rodgers edging towards there, maybe Watkins, he likes to do runs down that channel as well. I think that's where Villa are going to get joy, and Villa are going to be able to get Fulham very strong down the left-hand side. I'd expect Anthony Robinson to come in and play his first Premier League game of the season. Sessegnon's been playing there, but Robinson's fit again now, and he was probably their player of the season last year, along with Iwobi. So I just think if we get those five in the right kind of spaces, is it six? My math is terrible. It is six. If we get those six down that kind of left-hand side, that axis I feel is going to be pretty important in this game. I mean, we could be getting the team completely wrong here, but I'm trying to go off, what he did on Thursday, what he said on Thursday, and what we've seen with our eyes.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, the only thing that I would like to see is Maatsen start the game, but I think it's a toss-up. But I would like to see Maatsen and Sancho work together a bit more often. And
could he have took Maatsen off with that in mind? That
possibly.
I'm going to play him on to now I'm overreading into what Emery did. It's impossible to call, isn't it?
Yeah, possibly that could well be in the thinking. I think. I would have liked to have seen Harvey Elliott on Thursday against Bologna, just because I think players need rhythm and need minutes at the moment. I don't, and I understand why Unai Emery talks a lot about his structure and wanting to have that control but maybe it's almost the supporter in me. I kind of just feel like, yes, your structure's important, but also you just want to see some vibes, and Villa fans just want to have a bit of fun.
And it's pure vibesman in the football space.
If Harvey Elliott and Sancho could provide that, then maybe it's time just to kind of let the shackles off a little bit. But hey, look, I get where Emery's coming from. He wants to keep that control, wants to keep that structure, and look, that's the thing that's made Villa as successful as they have done over the last 2-3 years. So who am I to say, get the players on the pitch that can maybe spark something and spark some of the players into life. But look, I think the game on Thursday night, yes, it was a victory, but I didn't come away from that game thinking all the problems are solved. No. In fact, I come away from the game thinking the problems are still there and I'm not seeing too many solutions. And this game on Sunday is absolutely vital to kickstart the season. And it feels like we're kind of repeating ourselves here, because every game feels like something where this could be the one to kickstart the season. And maybe we're not going to have that game. Maybe it's going to be a step-by-step, a game-by-game thing, and everything's not just going to click at once. It's going to be a kind of bit of a slog. But I think the most important thing is just to get the 3 points on Sunday.
Yeah, it wasn't one of those wins where you come away from it thinking, "Oh, right, we're clicking now. Things are about to click." I didn't walk away from the ground last night feeling that. I walked away from the ground thinking, "Phew, we've won a game, but it's probably still not right." Does it mask certain things? I don't know. But I did come away thinking if we're playing a better team, they'd have taken something from that game. They'd have managed to punish Villa or got in behind or done something. But I will say, that team that we've predicted, I like that team more than any lineup I've seen so far this season in the flesh. So, if Unai follows our advice, he's not going to go far wrong, is he, Dave?
I mean, there's nothing I can say to that.
No. Okay. Well, instead, let's do our hot/freezing cold takes. I got last time us two did a show together, I got mine right because I said we wouldn't score and we didn't. Too proud of, but that's what happens. Have you got anything? I said the same thing again last week though, and we did score, so that was good. Well,
I'm gonna go for a Sancho assist. How about that?
Oh, you stole where the kind of avenue I was thinking of going. I'm going to go then. Just Watkins is going to get off the mark. That's going to be my hot take, and it is going to be a hot take. It is going to be right, and Villa are going to win. All those things are going to happen on Sunday.
Villa have just got to start the game well. That's really important. Start the game well. Win your first tackle. Win your first duel. Snap someone if you need to. Let's get the crowd going. That's the most important thing. Start the game well, because Villa haven't started games particularly well, and the crowd need to be behind them on Sunday, because it's clear, it's obvious that they're struggling, and now's the time to give back for the success that the players have given.
Jeez, don't start talking about clear and obvious on here, Dave. That's the last thing that we want to be doing. Right then, let's go. Dave, absolute pleasure to have you on, as always. Always a treat to talk to you,
pleasure.
My big mate. So thank you very much, and good luck with the alcohol cupboard on Sunday when Villa are playing. Thanks to everyone that's watched. If you're watching via YouTube, if you could subscribe with your post notifications on, that would be great. Leave a comment, leave a like. I'm trying to respond to comments a bit more now, you may have noticed. If you're listening via Apple or Spotify, then leave us a review. Give us 5 stars and leave us a comment. I think it is on Spotify as well. Be back with some post-match shows after the Fulham game, so do watch out for that. There'll of course be another episode of Through the Turnstiles. Do go back and watch the Through the Turnstiles from Thursday night with me and my dad from the Bologna game, and of course we've got the Stato preview even around the Fulham game as well. So do go and watch that, or listen to that if you haven't done so already. Right then, have a great weekend. If I see you on Sunday, come and say hello. And as ever, it's an Up the Villa from me and an Up the Villa from Big Dave Reed.
UTV.